Kate Middleton seems to live a fairy tale life, a future queen, a loving family, and worldwide admiration. But behind the royal smiles lies a much darker reality. Mocked for her middle-class roots, hounded by the press, and burdened by personal and family tragedies, Kate's journey is far from perfect. From her parents' financial downfall to her own shocking diagnosis, let's dive into the untold struggles of the Princess of Wales and reveal the heartbreaking story. Tragic origins of wealth. The Middleton family's wealth might look like a simple result of hard work and smart business, yet its story begins with deep sadness. Francis Lupton, one of Kate Middleton's ancestors, once expected to share his fortune among his 5 children. Sadly, World War I changed their fate. 3 of Francis's sons went off to fight and never came home. Only his 2 daughters, Olive and Anne, survived. Because of that terrible loss, they ended up inheriting the large sum of money their father had planned to give to all 5 children. In today's terms, the inheritance left to the daughters would be worth millions of pounds. Olive later had children of her own, and her sister Anne never married. This meant that much of what remained of Anne's money was also passed on to Olive's family line. Through generations, some of this inheritance eventually helped fund Kate Middleton's upbringing and education, giving her advantages that most people could not afford. Yet, this story is tragic. The family fortune would have been divided in a totally different way if the 3 brothers had not been killed in the war. Parents lost their sons, and sisters lost their siblings. Their shared pain turned into an unexpected inheritance, which then became a source of future security for the Middletons. When Carol and Michael Middleton launched their party decoration business, they had this family money to aid them, which helped them send Kate to expensive schools and later buy an impressive home. But the money's grim background casts a shadow over the Middleton family's success story. While Kate Middleton grew up in comfort, it is important to remember how many sacrifices and losses shaped her ancestors' lives. The glow of royal life can make many people ignore the heartbreaking past that made it possible. Behind the fine homes and polished appearances lie sorrows that echoed through history. When people discuss the Middletons' financial advantages, they rarely mention the wartime tragedy that gave rise to what is sometimes seen as a golden inheritance: class-based mockery. Class-based mockery played a huge role in Carol and Michael Middleton's experience once their daughter, Catherine, started dating Prince William. Although their family had old family money, this did not stop some people from looking down on them. Carol Middleton's background as a flight attendant became a cruel joke among William's aristocratic friends, who whispered "doors to manual" whenever Catherine was around. These remarks poked fun at Carol's former job and hinted that she did not match royal standards. Such mocking did not end with William's social circle. The British press also made nasty comments about the Middletons' so-called middle-class ways. They often wrote that Carol was pushy and not classy enough to be the mother of a future queen consort. Journalists insisted the Middletons did not have the right family history or social status, even though they were actually descended from a wealthy family line through Francis Lupton. This snobbery ignored the fact that many aristocrats gain or lose wealth through history, just like anyone else. Carol's lack of a fancy title or historic home was often used as evidence that she did not belong in royal circles. Papers like the Daily Mail ran quotes from anonymous courtiers who said she was twee and too middle class for the role of royalty. These labels might seem silly to outsiders, but they hurt Carol deeply. After all, she and Michael had worked hard to give their children a comfortable environment, including sending them to top schools and encouraging them to have good manners. Even after Catherine and William married, the family's so-called lack of class remained a favorite target for gossip. Some TV shows, like Netflix's The Crown, created fictional scenes that showed Carol as a pushy social climber who had planned her daughter's royal future from the start. While viewers knew the show was fictional, it could still spread unfair ideas about the Middletons. Through it all, Carol and Michael stayed united as a family. Even facing cruel treatment, they continued to support Catherine. Their story reminds us that background-based insults do real harm, and that kindness and respect should be granted to everyone, no matter their social standing. Media criticism of Carol Middleton. Carol Middleton faced harsh judgment in the British press long before her daughter Catherine became a member of the royal family. Early on, newspapers painted Carol as an overly ambitious mother who wanted to climb the social ladder. Since she used to work as a flight attendant, some outlets mocked her background by suggesting she did not belong in noble circles. They rolled out headlines that highlighted her so-called pushy nature, arguing that she was not classy enough to be the mother of a future queen. During the courtship of Catherine and Prince William, the media often focused on Carol's social class. Some reports even claimed that the Queen's advisors had big question marks about her. A famous piece in the Daily Mail quoted a courtier who described Carol Carol as twee and middle class. These remarks echoed a broader belief among certain royal watchers that Carol was out of her depth. The press also seized on every detail of her personal life, her taste in decor, her interest in party planning, and her family's finances, to suggest she was obsessed with status. Things became more humiliating when newspapers wrote about the way Prince William's aristocratic friends poked fun at Carol's past. The infamous phrase, "doors to manual," made its rounds in the tabloids, referring to the instructions flight attendants give passengers. Commentators treated this as proof that Carol and her family were not cut out for high society. While Catherine was later defended by some in the media, Carol continued to face insults rooted in class prejudice. Adding to the negativity, Netflix's series The Crown showed Carol as a pushy mother, bent on making Catherine marry into royalty. Though the series is fictional, many viewers took it at face value, intensifying incorrect beliefs about Carol. On top of all this, she was targeted by tabloid hackers seeking private details about her family, making her media ordeal even more distressing. Overall, the media's portrayal of Carol Middleton was often unfair, focusing on her background and exaggerating her ambitions. Through it all, she remained devoted to her family, choosing to rise above the criticism and support her daughter's new life as a royal. Hacking scandal. Carol Middleton's experience with phone hacking shows just how far certain tabloids were willing to go for a secret scoop. When news broke that the now-defunct News of the World had targeted her phone, many were shocked. After all, Carol was not a celebrity or politician. She was simply the mother of someone who happened to be dating and then married to the future King of England. Yet, this did not protect her from invasive tactics. In 2014, the Daily Mail revealed that Carol's phone had been hacked by reporters who wanted to dig up private details about the royal family. Carol's daughter, Princess Catherine, was also hacked 155 times, and Prince William's phone was hacked 35 times. It seems the newspapers were eager to gather gossip straight from the source. They hoped that intercepting personal messages and calls would lead to juicy headlines, but it also invaded the family's privacy in a deeply disturbing way. What made the scandal feel even more unfair was that Carol was not an official member of the royal household when the hacking began. She was just a regular person thrust into the public eye because of her daughter's high-profile relationship. However, tabloid reporters did not see her as out of bounds. They wanted anything they could get, voicemails, texts, or even casual updates about Catherine and William's everyday routines. The fallout from the hacking scandal was huge, and the public rightly blamed the tabloids for their unethical methods. The News of the World soon became the center of a major controversy that exposed how far some journalists were willing to go for a sensational story. Court cases and inquiries followed, forcing the paper to close for good in 2011. But for Carol, the damage had already been done. The invasion of her privacy could not be undone just because the paper shut down. Like many victims of phone hacking, Carol must have felt violated and upset. She had never chosen a life of fame. Still, she found herself at the heart of one of Britain's most famous media scandals. The entire ordeal proved that no one is safe when certain tabloids decide to cross ethical lines, not even a devoted mother who never asked for the royal spotlight. Business failure and financial decline. Carol and Michael Middleton's company, Party Pieces, once stood as a symbol of creative vision and success. Founded in 1987, the business thrived by offering fun, themed party supplies that helped families celebrate special moments. Carol's knack for details and personal touches became the heart of the company, winning over customers and helping Party Pieces become a familiar name in the events world. But in 2019, Carol stepped away from daily management and allowed outside leaders to run the company. She hoped they would bring fresh ideas and expand Party Pieces further. Sadly, this move ended in disappointment. Under new management, the business began racking up debts. Things grew worse when the COVID-19 pandemic hit, forcing people to postpone or cancel social gatherings. Sales dropped, and Party Pieces took out a £219,000 loan to stay afloat. But this led to more controversy because British taxpayers funded part of that loan. By the summer of 2023, the company owed £2.6 million. Carol was heartbroken. She had never intended to lose control of the business she had built with so much passion over decades. She felt let down by the managers she had trusted, but also admitted she had been naive to step away. Despite all efforts to rescue the brand, Party Pieces could not recover from its mounting losses. In the end, Carol and Michael made the tough choice to sell their beloved firm to the Teddy-tastic Bear Company. While this saved Party Pieces from completely disappearing, it meant the Middletons could no longer guide its future. It was a sad goodbye to a project that had brought them pride and for many years provided their main source of income. On the brighter side, the deal allowed the 12 employees of Party Pieces to keep their jobs. Carol and Michael can take comfort in knowing they left behind a legacy of cheerful celebrations for families everywhere. Even if their fortunes changed, the special memories they helped create will outlast the pain of financial decline. James Middleton's mental health struggles. James Middleton, the youngest of Carol and Michael Middleton's 3 children, has faced a private yet intense battle with his mental health. Unlike his famous sisters, Princess Catherine and Pippa, James has largely shunned the spotlight. Still, his struggle with depression became public when he bravely shared his story in a newspaper article. He called it a cancer of the mind, explaining that good fortune does not protect anyone from the darkness that mental illness can create. James opened up about feeling overwhelmed, even though he recognized how lucky he was to come from a supportive and well-off family. This gap between his outward life and inner despair made him feel guilty and ashamed, holding him back from seeking help. During his lowest points, James said he stopped responding to messages from loved ones, including his worried parents. Carol and Michael Middleton watched their son slip away, desperate to help him, but unsure how to reach him when he refused to answer their calls and texts. Eventually, James realized that staying silent was not only harming himself, but also those who cared about him. He decided to turn to therapy and other professional mental health support. Making that choice, he said, brought him a small spark of hope in his darkest hour. Through patience and treatment, he rediscovered the love of his family and even began speaking openly about his journey, hoping to guide others who feel trapped by depression. Carol and Michael Middleton, who had already endured much media scrutiny, took on the emotional strain of watching their son battle a painful and often misunderstood illness. They did everything possible to encourage James, sending him messages of love and support as he slowly found his way to recovery. Today, James credits his family's devotion with helping him move forward. His story shows that mental health struggles can affect anyone, no matter their status, and that compassion and professional help can light the path back to hope. Kate Middleton's cancer diagnosis struck her family like lightning, coming less than a year after Carol and Michael Middleton lost their beloved business, Party Pieces. It was the news no parent ever wants to hear, especially after such a stressful period. Though Catherine is a well-loved public figure, behind the scenes her family worried deeply about her health. Royal expert Jenny Bond noted that this situation must have been especially hard on Carol, reminding everyone that, even at 42 years old, Catherine is still her mother's little girl. As soon as they learned about Catherine's condition, Carol and Michael did whatever they could to support their daughter. Carol, in particular, took an active role in helping Catherine. She was seen driving her around London and looking after her grandchildren, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. Word spread that Carol and William were even spotted having a casual drink together, hinting at the strong family bond that was helping them cope during this difficult time. Across the media, people began to realize that Catherine's polished public image hid a new, painful burden. Yet the royal protocols and constant press coverage made it tricky for her to keep the details private. Observers noted that she faced pressure to explain her medical situation, all while trying to stay strong for her children and perform her royal duties. This unwanted spotlight added another layer of stress to an already challenging diagnosis. Despite everything, the Middletons did their best to remain hopeful. Their focus became Catherine's recovery and the well-being of her kids. They stayed close to her home in Windsor, providing meals, driving the children to activities, and offering emotional support whenever possible. One insider shared that Carol and Michael's presence was a real comfort to William too, who felt relieved that his wife had her family nearby. Kate's cancer diagnosis showed just how strong the Middleton family really is. Even when facing heartbreak, their unity and love helped them move forward, reminding the world that behind every public figure stands a devoted family, ready to offer strength and care in life's hardest moments. Negative portrayal in The Crown. Netflix's The Crown is known for telling stories about the British royal family with creative drama, and Carol Middleton has not escaped its fictional touches. Throughout season 6, the show focuses on Prince William and Catherine's romance, while also painting Carol as a social climber who is overly excited about her daughter's royal connections. Many viewers see Carol's portrayal as a pushy mother fixated on social status, determined to get Catherine closer to the throne. Scenes suggest that Carol made big plans for her children, hoping they would mix with higher circles. In one moment, Carol happily mentions how thrilling it was to meet important people connected to the Queen. Though often entertaining, this storyline can damage Carol's real-life image. Critics argue that the show's writers took creative license, making Carol a convenient villain who embodies class anxiety and power-hungry motives. The Crown is, after all, a drama. It is not a documentary, no matter how many fans treat it as a window into true royal history. Members of the royal family have spoken out about the crown's habit of bending facts for the sake of a good story. Princess Diana's brother, Charles Spencer, reminded viewers that the series is fictional and should not be taken as a real account of events. Even so, the show's wide audience walks away with certain ideas about Carol Middleton that might not be fair or accurate. Carol herself has never publicly criticized the crown, but she has always aimed to present a calm, supportive figure for her children and grandchildren. She has had a keen business mind, building party pieces from the ground up, yet she is rarely shown in the series as anything more than an ambitious mother. This flattening of her character can mislead people who are unfamiliar with real Middleton family history. Exclusion from Royal Christmas Carol and Michael Middleton adore Christmas. As former owners of a party business, they have always enjoyed going big for the holiday season, sometimes decorating multiple trees and filling their home with festive cheer. They love creating that magical atmosphere, especially when their grandchildren come to visit. Yet, for many years, they rarely got to share it with Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis over the actual Christmas holiday. Instead, royal tradition required that William and Catherine bring the children to spend the holiday with Queen Elizabeth II at Sandringham. While the Middletons were occasionally invited to the royal Christmas morning church service at St. Mary Magdalene, they did not join in the full festive celebrations inside. Christmas at Sandringham follows long-held customs, with the royals exchanging gifts on Christmas Eve and gathering for formal meals. As a result, Carol and Michael missed out on the quieter, more personal parts of the holiday. Their exclusion highlights one of the sacrifices that come with having a daughter in the royal family. Still, Carol and Michael tried to find other ways to maintain holiday traditions. They often hosted Catherine, William, and the children before or after Christmas, throwing a casual get-together that allowed both grandparents and grandchildren to enjoy simpler moments without the strict formality of Sandringham. Carol once wrote about her Christmas plans on her Party Pieces Instagram, revealing that she liked to decorate 2 trees each year, one for the children to decorate and one she would do herself. Even if their time with the royal grandchildren was short, the Middletons made every moment count. Over the years, there have been some signs of flexibility and progress. Catherine has sometimes been able to split the holiday schedule so that the Middletons share a slice of the cheer. Yet, the overall pattern remains the same. Carol and Michael's strong enthusiasm for Christmas does not always align with royal traditions. Their experience reminds us that being part of the royal circle can come at a personal cost, no matter how much you love the festive season. Emotional toll on the family. The Middleton family has experienced wave after wave of hardships that have left them feeling both proud and weary, although they gained public attention when their daughter married into the royal family. The cost of that spotlight has been high. Each struggle, a turbulent business collapse, James Middleton's battle with depression, invasive media behavior, and even Kate's recent cancer diagnosis has tested their strength and unity. From the moment the tabloids discovered that Carol Middleton once worked as a flight attendant, her family's social background became a target for cruel remarks. Snobbish jokes like "doors to manual" might seem small, but they caused real pain, reminding Carol and Michael that some people would never see them as equals in royal circles. Despite the hurt, the Middletons pressed on, yet the media's lens only grew sharper, revealing every crack in their once simple life. Things worsened when the news of the world hacked into Carol's and Kate's phones, tearing down any sense of privacy they had left. Not even the family's holiday cheer remained safe. Each Christmas, royal protocol blocked Carol and Michael from sharing the full festive season with their grandchildren, leaving them feeling left out of treasured moments. At the same time, James Middleton's depression tested the family's closeness. While he managed to pull through with proper help, his parents had to watch him suffer in silence, unsure how to break through the walls he had built around himself. Their business, Party Pieces, which once fueled their dreams, fell into heavy debt, forcing a sale in 2023. Carol was hit hard by this loss, calling it desperately sad. Then came perhaps the most crushing blow, Kate's cancer diagnosis. Though she is beloved by the public, she is still Carol's daughter, and the news shook everyone. Carol and Michael quietly stepped in, taking on more childcare and errands. Through all these trials, the Middleton story shows that behind every peaceful photo or polite smile lies a family fighting to stay strong in the face of heartbreak.
I think royal duty is extremely important. I think it's part of the fabric of what the royal family and any future monarch has, and it's something that is very important, and I take duty very seriously.
For years, the public has known Prince William as the responsible royal, the steady future king who follows protocol and maintains the dignity of the monarchy. In contrast to his younger brother Harry, who's made headlines with explosive interviews, a tell-all memoir, and his dramatic exit from royal duties, William has been the model heir, reliable, controlled, and scandal-free. But recent events have shattered that carefully crafted image, showing that perhaps the two brothers aren't so different after all. What DNA revelation has caused the future king to follow in his brother's controversial footsteps? The fallout has left the monarchy reeling in ways no one could have predicted. The scandal breaks. It began with what should have been a private medical procedure. In early 2025, Prince William agreed to participate in a research study at King's College London, examining genetic markers for male pattern baldness, a subject he'd often joked about publicly. The standard procedure required a simple DNA sample, which William provided without hesitation, signing routine confidentiality agreements. 3 weeks later, William's world imploded. Somehow, portions of his genetic profile were leaked to the British tabloid The Sun, which published a sensational front-page story, claiming the test had revealed stunning information about the future king's heritage that raises questions about the Windsor bloodline. While the initial report was frustratingly vague, it was enough to set off a firestorm of speculation. Palace officials immediately denied any impropriety, condemning the egregious breach of medical ethics and threatening legal action against both the newspaper and the research facility. But the damage was done. Within hours, the hashtag number sign, Royal DNASCANDAL, was trending worldwide, with rumors ranging from the plausible to the absurd. What happened next stunned even veteran royal watchers. Rather than maintain dignified silence as royal protocol dictated, William took to social media with a hastily recorded video that showed him visibly agitated, his typically polished appearance disheveled. "For years I've watched my brother be torn apart for speaking his truth," William said, his voice uncharacteristically strained. "I criticized him, both publicly and privately. I thought maintaining the institution was more important than anything else, but now that I'm the target of these violations and lies, I understand what drove him to break free." The video, clearly made without palace approval, was deleted within 30 minutes, but not before it had been viewed millions of times and captured by countless users who continued to circulate it. The composed, controlled Prince William, the world thought they knew, had vanished, replaced by a man on the verge of a very public breakdown. The Harry parallel. What made William's situation particularly remarkable was how closely it mirrored his brother's path. Like Harry, he was now facing intense media scrutiny about his private life. Like Harry, he was chafing against palace restrictions on how to respond. And like Harry, he was beginning to publicly question the system he'd been raised to uphold. Royal insiders reported that King Charles was deeply concerned about his elder son's behavior, particularly given how critical William had been when Harry followed a similar path. One former palace aide told The Times, "William was absolutely furious with Harry for going public with family matters. He considered it the ultimate betrayal of royal principles. Now he's doing exactly the same thing, which suggests whatever was revealed in that DNA test has truly shaken him to his core." Princess Catherine was notably absent during the initial days of the scandal, reportedly taking their 3 children to her parents' home in Bucklebury to shield them from the media frenzy. Her silence spoke volumes, as the normally supportive royal wife made no public show of standing by her husband. Most ironically, the only family member to publicly support William was Harry himself, who issued a brief statement from California. "No one understands better than I do the pressure of having your private life exploited for public consumption. Despite our differences, I stand with my brother and respect his right to respond to these intrusions as he sees fit." The DNA revelation. As William's public behavior grew increasingly erratic, skipping a scheduled appearance at a military ceremony, being photographed arguing with aides outside Kensington Palace, and reportedly refusing calls from his father. More details about the DNA findings emerged from multiple sources. The test had allegedly revealed that William carried genetic markers inconsistent with the known Windsor profile. Specifically, the analysis showed heritage that raised questions about the official narrative of his royal lineage. While the tabloids gleefully speculated about potential infidelity in Charles and Diana's marriage, genetics experts noted that such testing frequently reveals unexpected ancestry several generations back. What seemed to trigger William's most extreme reaction, however, wasn't just the content of the revelations, but the palace's response to them. According to sources close to the prince, senior royal advisors had prepared a strategy of blanket denials, controlled leaks to friendly media outlets, and a campaign to discredit the research facility, all without addressing the substance of the findings. It was exactly the same playbook they used against Harry and Meghan, one source told The Guardian. William suddenly found himself on the receiving end of the institution's protection machinery, and he didn't like what he saw. It was as if a veil had been lifted. The family division deepens. The aftermath of William's interview created the greatest crisis for the monarchy since Harry and Meghan's departure. King Charles, reportedly devastated by his son's public comments, retreated to Balmoral Castle in Scotland, cancelling several planned engagements. Palace sources described the king as being caught between his role as monarch and his love for his son, an echo of Queen Elizabeth's dilemma during Harry's exit. The royal family split into factions. Princess Anne and Prince Edward publicly supported the traditional palace approach of dignity and discretion, with Anne telling reporters, "Some conversations belong behind closed doors, regardless of circumstance." In contrast, several of the younger royals, including Princess Eugenie and Zara Tindall, were rumored to have privately expressed support for William's newfound outspokenness. Most notably, Harry reached out directly to his brother, with sources claiming the two spoke by video call for over 2 hours, their longest conversation in years. According to those familiar with the call, Harry offered advice on handling media pressure outside the palace system, and shared his own experiences with prioritizing personal truth over institutional expectations. Catherine finally returned to London a week after the interview, but observers noted a distinct coolness between the couple during their first public appearance together. Body language experts pointed to their physical distance, minimal eye contact, and Catherine's strained smile as evidence of serious marital tension resulting from William's unilateral decisions. The royal rebel. As days turned into weeks, William showed no signs of backing down or conforming to palace expectations. Instead, he seemed to be taking pages directly from Harry's playbook, embracing a new role as royal rebel with increasing confidence. He launched his own social media accounts independent of Kensington Palace's official channels, giving him direct access to the public without institutional filtering. His first post, "Time for some overdue truth-telling," gained over 1 million followers within hours. In a move that particularly alarmed traditional royalists, William began selectively engaging with comments about the monarchy's colonial past, acknowledging historical wrongs, and suggesting that full accountability was necessary for the institution to evolve. These comments echoed positions Harry and Meghan had taken years earlier, positions that had been privately dismissed by William at the time. Most shocking was William's announced partnership with Netflix for a documentary series examining the relationship between the British monarchy and the media, a project with uncomfortable parallels to Harry and Meghan's much-criticized Netflix deal. The working title, "Behind the Palace Walls," suggested a level of institutional critique that would have been unimaginable from William just months earlier. "It's as if he's deliberately retracing Harry's steps," one royal historian noted. "The same boundary breaking, the same media partnerships, the same willingness to question the monarchy publicly. The only difference is that William can't be exiled from the succession as easily as the spare." The family summit. With the monarchy facing its greatest crisis in generations, King Charles finally took decisive action. He summoned both William and Harry, the latter reluctantly agreeing to return to the UK for the first time in years, to a private family summit at Sandringham, reminiscent of the 2020 meeting that had formalized Harry's departure from royal duties. Unlike that earlier meeting, this summit included no courtiers, advisors, or other family members, just Charles and his 2 sons behind closed doors for nearly 6 hours. When they emerged, all 3 looked emotionally drained but, according to staff, somewhat reconciled. No formal statement followed the meeting, but dramatic changes soon became apparent. William returned to royal duties, though with a noticeably different approach, more outspoken, less bound by convention, and more willing to acknowledge problems within the institution. His Netflix project was reconfigured as a documentary about modernizing the monarchy, with the king's grudging approval. Most significantly, Harry announced plans for his first extended return to the UK since his departure, with a carefully negotiated agreement for limited royal duties focusing on charitable work. Sources close to both brothers suggested that William had insisted on Harry's partial return as a condition of his own continued cooperation with royal expectations. The new normal today, months after the DNA scandal that triggered this extraordinary chain of events. The British monarchy operates in a changed landscape. William has neither fully returned to his former compliant role, nor completely broken free in the manner of his brother. Instead, he has carved out a new position as an internal reformer, still committed to the monarchy's future, but determined to modernize it on his own terms. The palace has never officially acknowledged the specific DNA findings that sparked William's transformation. Most royal experts now believe the test revealed something about William's ancestry that contradicted official Windsor history. Not recent enough to affect his claim to the throne, but significant enough to make him question the institution's relationship with truth. William's relationship with Harry remains complex, but has undeniably improved. The brothers are not the inseparable team they once were, but they now speak regularly and have made several joint appearances focusing on their mother's charitable legacy. Observers note that William has adopted several of Harry's perspectives about royal duty and institutional reform, while Harry has shown new respect for William's commitment to preserving a modernized monarchy. The DNA test may have revealed unexpected information about William's genetic heritage, one royal commentator observed. But the real revelation was how quickly the perfect prince could transform into a royal rebel when the institution turned its machinery against him. In finding himself suddenly in Harry's shoes, William found a new understanding of his brother, and perhaps a new version of himself. For the British monarchy, long defined by tradition and continuity, the future now holds something far less predictable, an heir who has experienced his own version of royal rebellion and emerged with a determination to change the very institution he will someday lead.